Peace and love, and bountiful blessings be with you. Thank you again for tuning on in. Once again, we are back. Another episode of Freeing the Minds and another episode of some scripture diving. And I wanted to go into Enoch's heart, man. I just wanted to let's look at the magnitude of Enoch's heart, man. The magnitude and the importance of the heart and magnifying the heart. And what is the heart focused on? And what is the heart after? So I just wanted to look at one episode, one example, one of the prophets, Enoch, and just wanted to look at his heart, man. So let's just dive on in this together. Let's get right on in it together. Let's not waste no time, no further ado. Let's get right on into it. Pull out your scriptures at home, what you have at home. Have your King James Version, your New Standard, all the different languages of it. You know what I mean? Bring out your scriptures, whatever you use, whatever you're studying through, whatever you're using to help you get a better understanding of the Word of God, the Word of the Most High. Bring that on out right now. You know what I mean? And bring them on out every time we go on in there. You know what I mean? Just so you can follow along at the same time going into anything else. Feel free to, add on some precepts upon precepts, line upon lines up under. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're just going to go into a basic going on to the heart, man. It's basic going on into the heart. So let's look at it. Enoch's story opens up at Genesis 5:18 through 24, and it reads, "And Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Elohim after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. 365 years. And Enoch walked with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him." So we start off, though, where we see Enoch. And Enoch is born, and we see that Enoch walked with Yah. Enoch walked with God. Now, when Enoch walked with God, what does that mean? Let's look at that a little bit deeper, because this is dealing with the heart, right? It's dealing with a whole lot more, obviously, you know what I mean? But let's look at the heart aspect of it. Let's go on into Enoch's story a little bit further. To get a little bit further into Enoch's story, we're going to have to go into the book of Jubilees, chapter 4 at verse 16. Chapter 4 at verse 16. And it reads, "And in the 11th Jubilee," now a Jubilee is 50 years. Okay? A Jubilee is 50 years. A lot of things in 50s, right? So now, when we look at this, in the 11th Jubilee, so you would take 50 and times that by 11. And what do you get? When you multiply and you do the math there, you get 550 years. 550 years. So now, when you're looking at the 550th year, it says, "And in the 11th Jubilee, Jared took to himself a woman, and her name was Baraka, the daughter of Raziel, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee. And she bore him a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee. And he called his name Enoch." Now this is the birth of Enoch and the lineage of Enoch. "And he was the first among men," Enoch, "he was the first among men that are born on the earth, who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a sefer, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months." So he tracked time and got the knowledge of it. First to have knowledge, first to be able to write, put it all together. Verse 18, "And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years, as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be, he saw in a vision of his sleep. as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men and for their generations. Now, and in the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week thereof, he took to himself a woman, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Daniel, the daughter of his father's brother, and in the 6th year in this week she bore him a son, and he called his name Methuselah. And he was moreover with the angels of Elohim these 6 jubilees of years, and they showed him everything which is on earth and in the heavens, the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. 22. And he testified to the watchers who had sinned with the daughters of men, for these had begun to unite themselves so as to be defiled with the daughters of men. And Enoch testified against them all. 23. And he was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And behold, there he writes down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. 24. And on account of it Elohim brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden, for there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generation until the day of condemnation. And he burnt the incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices acceptable before Yahuwah on the mount. So he was blessed with a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of insight, more than what the average human being. Now, based on what we just read, the understanding of Enoch, the depth of his knowledge, the wealth of his knowledge, the wealth of his wisdom, the wealth of his application, which ultimately gives forth to his understanding, the depth of his understanding was humongous. Now, when he had this information, he was blessed with this information. The Most High saw him worthy, and for whatever reason he saw him worthy. Why his heart was worthy? Because the Lord weighs the hearts of men, right? He sees right to the heart of the man. He sees right to the heart of the human being. So now when he looks into the heart and he weighs the heart and he saw his heart was worthy, he blessed him with this wealth of information, this wealth of insight. What did Enoch do with this information? Because that's a lot to hold on to. That's a lot of information. And a lot of us might be blessed, and a lot of us might be blessed with insight, or a lot of might have an understanding, or might have like a gift or something that they might just be able to do greatly, but not sure how to use or apply or what to do with it or how to move forward with it. Well, let's take a look at Enoch and see what he did with the blessings that the Most High blessed him with. All this information, right? All this ability, all this wealth of insight and capabilities. What does Enoch do with it? And knowing that he's blessed, and knowing that it's blessed by the Most High, it's a gift of the Most High. How does he use it? Let's look at that. We're going to go into the book of Enoch, chapter 81, and we're going to start off at verse 1. We're going to go through verses 1 through 6. Enoch 81, verse 1 through 6. He said, O Enoch, look on the cipher of the tablets of heaven. Look on the books of the tablets of heaven, which have gradually dropped down, and reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. Now, 336, the note to that says the cipher which dropped down, or the cipher of the tablets of heaven, right? So now going back up, read that again. Chapter 81, starting at verse 1, the book of Enoch, it reads, He said, O Enoch, look on the cipher of the tablets of heaven, which have gradually dropped down, and reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. Commanded him. Read it and understand it. Then I looked on all which was written, and I understood all. Then I looked on all which was written, and understood all, reading the cipher and everything written in it, all the works of man, and of all the children of flesh upon the earth, during the generations of the world. So he just read everything. Said he looked on all which was written and understood all, reading the sefer of everything written in it, all the works of man, and all the children of flesh upon the earth, during the generations of the world. Immediately after I blessed, and that's a deep line in itself that we'll come back to. Immediately after I blessed Yahuwah, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed whole workmanship of the world. And I glorified Yahuwah on account of his long suffering and blessings toward the children of the world. Look at that heart. At that time I said, blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalogue of crime has been written, and with whom iniquity is not found. Amen. Now let's take a look at this for a moment. When we look at the heart of Enoch, and we look at this chapter right here, chapter 81, and these verses 1 through 6, look how deep this heart is now. The Lord had blessed him with all this information, all this wealth, and all this insight. And he said, go over here, pick up the book, read it, and understand everything in it. So this is a dedication, it's a command. So it's not just going to come easy to him. That means there's going to be some dedication that's going to take him. Understand everything in it. So it's going to take some time that he's going to have to put in and break this thing down and go on into it and read it and connect these dots. But it also has to connect with something that has already been previously prepared. So he's some work that he already did before that led him up to this point that caused him worthy to be able to open up to this level of understanding, of this insight that allowed his heart to be blessed. And the Lord trusted him that, he's going to do the right thing, but he also has the right level of dedication to come on in here and approach this, not only just approach this right, but to see it through, that our time is not wasted, that this lesson is not wasted, that this information that is given to him is not wasted. What does he do with it? So we see that he immediately, once he saw the history of man, the future of man, the coming of the end of days, the day of judgment, and he saw all these things, it moved his heart to the Lord and have compassion. It moved his heart to having mercy on human beings. It moved his heart to the Lord to say, immediately after I blessed Yahuwah, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed the whole workmanship of the world, formed everything up in here, all these things. Man, all these things. Man, and I glorified Yahuwah on account of his long suffering and blessings toward the children of the world. Like his long suffering, he put up with all the things that we do. This world is in total chaos right now. Total chaos. We're in judgment right now as we speak. And the Lord is still having mercy. Some of us are being blessed more now than we've ever been blessed. Ever! Some of us are living better lives than we've ever lived. But even deeper, most of us and many of us are coming to a better truth and a higher truth and an understanding much deeper than we've ever understood before. Much deeper and much better and much more pure than we've ever understood before. Even amongst these confusion times, we're getting a better understanding. Especially when we pull in and we slow it down and we focus our heart and our minds on the Most High YAH. We focus our heart and our minds on the word of the Most High YAH. It changes everything from the inside. Everything changes from the inside. Now, let's go a little bit deeper on into this. So he put in that prayer immediately once he got that knowledge, once he got that insight, he put in that prayer. And he said, at that time, I said, blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good. He says, man, from this point, from seeing these things and, oh man, blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, striving to good things, try to live a good life, try to fight the good fight, try to do good out here, try to love the word, try to live according to the word, try to live a beautiful life, try to be a blessing out here unto others, and try to just, give of yourself, give of your gifts, give of your blessings, trying to just share your life and the good things and the goodness of you, trying to share these things, right? This creates a beautiful life. This creates a beautiful experience. This creates a good life, man. He said, man, blessed is a man. Blessed is a human being. Blessed is the one. And he says, blessed is a man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalogue of crime has been written. No stealing, no thievery, no stabbing, no just keeping it as good and keeping it positive. Do the best as you can. Of course, we're going to fall here and there. Of course, we're going to have our mishaps and our moments of coming short. Of course, we're going to have our challenges and our struggles within and all around ourselves. But where's the heart? And what is the heart attuned to? What is it striving for? Is it working through and swimming, and is it purging itself towards clarity, towards righteousness, towards love, towards purity, towards a better life, towards perfection, striving for perfection? Or is it cool in complacency? Is it comfortable working towards its own demise? Where is it? The heart. in the actions that follow. One's intention, one's direction, one's motive. Where are the actions that follow? Because there must be actions that follow. He saw things that human beings go through. He said, blessed is a man that lives a righteous life, that should die a good life, that should die striving for good, striving for greatness, striving for perfection, striving after the heart of the Most High. So let's take a look at what that looks like in application. We have to see what that looks like in application, because he saw it, you know what I mean? And it took him to the depths of his wisdom to be able to apply this thing, to give him that level of understanding. Like he saw something that opened up his heart and his mind to say, man, I got to do better. And if I can do better, man, like, because we can always do better. Whatever we've even done, they can always, like, if the love in which we live our lives, even right now, there can be even a more pure love and a better way on which we can love, and calming our own angers, working on ourselves, working on our own hearts, because ultimately this is what this is all about, looking at our own selves, looking at our own hearts, looking at our own life, fingerprints, and trying to make the best of that, trying to be the best of that, and within that. So let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. To go there, we're going to have to go into, and we're going to go into the book of Joshua, and we're going to go into chapter 3, verse 1 through chapter 4, verse 3. So now this is going to take us into a section a little bit deeper into the heart of Enoch. It's going to take us deeper into the heart and into the life of Enoch. Like, what is that heart? What does that level of awareness look like in application, right? Because he was blessed with something, and he's seeing these things, and he's seeing what the fate of humanity is. And we see where we're at right now, how confusing this is and how tough it is. You know what I mean? And when we think about, like, just for a moment, like when you think about people, like when you think about people and the things in your life and people in your life, and when you pray for people and you're wishing good things for them, or you forbid that anything negative happens to them. You forbid that anything, you know what I mean? Like their life be, God forbid, their life be is taken from us, you know. When we think about these things, it hurts us sometimes. When we think about them, especially the ones, people we love deeply, it hurts us. So imagine like him seeing all of this, all his loved ones, the future, his grand and great grandkids, you know what I'm saying, as well as others, that just the fate of humanity, because he loved so much. He loved life, he loved people, he loved things, he loved the earth, he loved the happenings of life, the things that take place in life, you know, the birthing of the children. He was a family man, had many sons and daughters, and he loved the Lord. So it's like, so he knew the value of life, to be fruitful and multiply, the first commandment. So he said, seeing these things, you know, he's like, man, and then seeing the things that we are going through, him seeing them back then, like, imagine the pain that would move his heart to be like, man, Lord, man, God bless the person that lives a good life, man, just live a good life. The person that does good out here, you know, that bless this, you know, that heart, that life. So let's take a look at this, and what did that look like in Enoch's life, in his heart, in his life and application, right? Let's take a look at that. So we open up the book of Joshua, chapter 3, starting at verse 1. Let's go in there. And it reads, and Enoch lived 65 years, and he begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Elohim after having begot Methuselah, and he served Yahuwah and despised the evil ways of men. He did not like the ways of men. He served God, hated the ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah. He was wrapped up in the word of the Lord. He was like, he was caught up in it. It says, and the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men, and secreted himself from them for many days. So he started, man, let's read that again. It said, Enoch walked with Elohim after he begot his son, had his first son, and walked with the Lord. He was walking with the Lord before him, had his first son, saw life, what that changed, how that changes a human being, having their first child, seeing all that, going through that process. Once he goes through that process, having begotten Methuselah, he served Yahuwah and despised the ways of men. So now he had his first son, and he loved the Lord. He saw life coming, life being born. He loved the Lord. And he despised the ways of men. It made him understand even deeper the ways of man and how detrimental it is. Like, man, man. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah. He was wrapped up in the word of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. So he was wrapped up in learning it, getting it, knowledge it, as well as understanding. So he applied it to get the understanding. So he was wrapped up in gaining this knowledge, putting it into practice, and living it out and seeing the fruits of it. Like he was wrapped up in that. That became his life. And he wisely retired from the sons of man. He stepped back from humanity. He stepped back from society. He stepped back from the ways of man. He's like, and secreted himself from them for many days. He's like, I got to get away from these folks. I got to isolate. I got to center. I got to be one with myself. I got to be one with the Lord. I got to get one. I got to, get in tune, man. Like this is for real. He saw what it was, and he was wrapped up in the Lord, and he wrapped up in the understanding and seeing the levels of it. He had to remove himself from the people. Sometimes you can be too heavy for the people, or sometimes you can be too much, or sometimes you can know too much, or say too much, or say something that just, folks ain't ready for. Like when you go to Exodus 20, and on the mountain, and the Lord was speaking to the people, and they got shook, and was giving them the commandments, and they got shook, and Moses was up there with Aaron, and the big old fire, and the smoke, and all that, and the folks got scared, and they was just like, yo, Moses, man, talk to us, you talk to us, man, like you talk to us, don't let the Lord talk to us unless we die. So you talk to us, man. And the Lord was like, and he was just like, yo, this the Lord, you know what I mean? Like, come on. And they just was super shook. It was like, please. So he was like, all right, I got you, Lord. And then he stepped into the smoke. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful scene. But when you look at that and you take that to Enoch, you take that to, his level of understanding. God blessed him with the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the heavens, the knowledge of the earth, the knowledge of the history of man, knowledge. He blessed him with that knowledge. He was like, I got to remove myself. He might have started losing friends. Who knows? By the way, he was just his realism. So he's like, yo, before I hurt anybody by being too real or being too honest, I might have been looking at him differently because of his level of understanding. So he didn't want to place any judgment or even have any of that in his heart. So then he's like, yo, just to keep his heart right, to keep his understanding right, and keep his relations in love, I got to step away for a minute. I got to retire for a second and just figure this thing out and figure out who I am. Sometimes you got to remove the brick to find out how to put the brick back in. Once you get out bigger in your space and the place you used to occupy, it's no longer you can occupy that place anymore. You got to take yourself out of that sometimes to figure out where it is that you fit in now, where it is that you occupy. Sometimes you got to wait for the Lord to drop you into that place. You know what I'm saying? So things happen when you're patient, and things happen when you're dedicated. So let's see his heart again. Let's keep on seeing where he was at. 3:3, starting at verse 3. And it was at the expiration of many years, after many years, while he was serving Yahuwah and praying before him in his house, that an angel of Yahuwah called to him from heaven. And he said, here I am. And he said, rise, go forth from your house, and from the place where you do hide yourself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that you may teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish, to enter in the ways of Elohim. So now, after many years, him serving and him dedicating and him learning and him building and getting a better understanding and growing within himself and around himself, the angel of the Lord was sent to him, or called to him from heaven and said, hey, it's time for you to get on up and get on down there with the people and teach and educate them. Basically, show them what you learned now. Share with them the things that you've been blessed with now. Share with them the jewels of what you have received. Pour out your cup and fill up their cup with the water I've given you. Now, let's take a look at this. What did he do? And Enoch rose up according to the word of Yahuwah. He got up according to the word. He didn't get up on his own account. He didn't get up the way he wanted to get up. He didn't get up the way, this is how I'm going to do it, and this way I'm going to do it. Oh, I got this inspiration to do it, and I felt like the Lord just told me to do it, and I'm going to do it this way. Not the way of the Lord, but I'm going to do it according to my way. Like, no, he did it according to the way of the Lord. So we can't just necessarily get up and do things the way we want to do things. We got to do things according to the word, according to the way of the Lord. Now, what is that? He said, Enoch rose up according to the way of according to the word of Yahuwah, and went for it according to how he was called. Now, and the word of Yah, righteously, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed, in which he hid himself. He got up and went out from this place. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the many ways, and taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And at that time, assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instruction of Yahuwah. So he got them, went out there and taught them He went up from his chambers, got up out of his place where he was hiding, went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of the Lord. And at that time he assembled the sons of men. He assembled them, brought them together, brought people together, and acquainted them with the instruction on how to live it, how to carry it out, what you are to do, the commandments. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places. Now this is before the mountain situation with Moses and Aaron, like we were talking about. This is the word, just before that. So now look, verse 6. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of Yahuwah and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him. For all who desire the things, and all the sons of men then assembled to him. For all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of Yahuwah. He ruled over the sons of men according to the word, did righteous and taught them righteousness. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the Ruach Elohim, the Ruach, the Spirit of God, was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of Elohim and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahuwah all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. So after he was blessed with the information, he was blessed with the wisdom, he was blessed with the knowledge, blessed with the understanding, the Lord got him up after he was in seclusion. He secluded himself away for many years and soaked it up and put it together and started getting it. The Lord said, get up and go to work. Go down here and teach the people. Then he went down there, he started teaching the people and teaching them the ways of the Lord and then teaching them the word of the Lord. And then he said, assembled the group and he started teaching them the instruction on how to instruct others in the way of the Lord, how to teach this, how this is what it is, this is what it does, this is what we mean, and this is what it does. Taught them the knowledge and the wisdom of the word and how to apply it and how to share that knowledge and wisdom, how to do like he did. So now, let's take a look at that. And it said, and the Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God, was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of Elohim and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahuwah all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. Verse 9, and all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom. People from all over, the kings and the princes and the judges, folks from all over. When they heard of Enoch and his wisdom, they came to him from all over. When they heard his wisdom, and they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. So they came, they heard his word of his wisdom, the word of him got out to the people, and folks came from all over to learn, all high and low to learn. And then the kings asked, hey, can you rule over us too, reign over us too, guide and teach us too? And he said, so be it, I will. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. Verse 11, and Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahuwah, and he made peace amongst them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of Yahuwah. So he taught them, and he shared it, and he gave it to them. He gave them love. He loved them. And these are the generations of Enoch. So they go through the generations, and then we skip on down to verse 14. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. 930 years old, Adam. And his two sons, with Enoch and Methuselah, his son, buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings. The first one with the natural death to go out naturally was Adam. Now at this point, great pomp, they made a big, great king, great gifted, blessed them. But at the same time, they're heavy-hearted, man. This is Adam, as at the burial of kings, in the cave which Elohim had told him. 15. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men this day. So that was the first person to go down, and people started crying in great mourning and weeping, as it says. Great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore because of this. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. So this tradition has been going on forever, since the first burial. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as Yahuwah Elohim had spoken. Verse 17. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secret himself as at first, in order to serve Yahuwah. So now Adam had passed, and he's like, yo, I got to get back to separating myself again. It was a heavy one. It was a heavy one. It was a heavy one, man. And he said, I got to separate again. And Enoch did so. Verse 18. But did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah our Lord, Yahuwah our God. Now, Adam passed. It hit him heavy. It hit everybody heavy. He said, hey, I got to separate myself again like I did before, but I'm not going to entirely separate myself. I'm going to be away 3 days, and I'm going to come with you guys 1 day. And while he's away those 3 days, it says he prayed that he was in his chamber. He prayed to and praised Yahuwah Elohim, the Lord his God, the Lord our God. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And all they asked him about Yahuwah, he told them. Everything that they asked, he answered them. The best that he could, he gave it to them. And he was blessed with that level of understanding to be able to do that. And then when he stepped away, he prayed and praised the Most High YAH. Man, a beautiful heart, man. A dedicated heart, man. Seeing this thing at the spiritual level. Seeing life from the spiritual level beyond the physicality. Man. And he did this manner for many years. And afterward, 20, and he did this manner for many years. And he afterward concealed himself for 6 days and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. So then after that, he did that for some years. Then he separated himself a little bit longer, 6 days away, and then 1 with them. 1 day with them. And after that, once in a month. So he went from every 3 days he'll see him. Then he went to once a week he'll see him. Then he went to once a month he'll see him. And then once in a year. Then he went to once a year to see him. Until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him. They looked for him. He just started just lessening his time with the people, and mooring his time with the Most High. And as he was putting more and more and dedicating more and more of his time to the Most High, the people were getting more and more magnetized to him. And it got to the point that they searched for this man. They said, where is he at, man? Where is he at? Until the kings, princes, and sons of men, this is like, man, yo, where is this man? They couldn't, because when you come in once a year, like, everybody ain't gonna be able to catch you, because they don't know where you're gonna be at necessarily. And man, not everybody's gonna be able to catch you. Not everybody's gonna be available to catch you, be able to make that trip. Might not even be on the planet anymore. All type of stuff. So he became very valuable, and especially he's keeping with the Most High. And man, the Lord took him up with him. He saw him that special. Look, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him and desired again to see the face of Enoch and to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the Elohim-like awe that was seated upon his conscience. Therefore, no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. Look how deep this man is now. We look at this man like he's that dedicated, he's that serious, he's that for real, he's that level of deepness where they couldn't even look him. They were afraid to look at this man in his eye, let alone looking in his direction. They were afraid to look at this man. Like, the level of that wisdom, the depth of that man, his presence. It had to be a powerful presence, man. A deep level of just love, man. And seriousness. For realness. So they desired to see his face again, to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the Elohim, like the godlike awe that was seated upon his conscience, how he looked, his appearance, like the blessing upon him, like his aura. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. 21. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst men. And they did so. So they was like, okay, maybe we all just come together and we all go over there and we all see him. And when he comes into town, we all go over there and we all see him. So not just one-on-one, because there's a lot, but we all can go, and then we can all just kind of just be there together and get the knowledge, get the information, get the blessing that he can bless us with, right? And it says, verse 22, and the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of Yahuwah. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him. And they said, may the king live. May the king live. 23. And then some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Elohim, behold, an angel of Yahuwah then called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven, to make him reign over the sons of Elohim, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. So he grew so great, blessed so much, that an angel from heaven said, hey, Enoch, yo, come up here and teach us. Teach my angels that. Teach these angels that. What you putting on them, put on our angels up here. Man, the blessing, right? The dedication, like the heart being moved, man. 24, when at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions, taught them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. He's like, I'm called to heaven. I don't know what day I'm going to go. And now therefore, 25, and now therefore, I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. So he was blessed. He didn't know what he said, yo. And he was blessed to that level where his dedication was that deep. His commitment was that real. Where the angels said, hey, come up here and teach us. Teach the angels up here that same stuff. And he said, okay. And he went to the human being. And to the humans said, you know, now I've been called up to go up to the heavens and teach up there. And to join them up there. And I don't know when. I don't know how much time I got here. But I'm going to give you all that I have while I can. Deeply committed. Didn't give up, knew he was going to go. How many of us even know when we're going to go, right? And if, man, and how would we act if we knew we were going to go? Would we wild out, or would we commit deeper? This man committed deeper, man. Committed much deeper. And, man, and didn't even know. And it was called up. And now look, and he taught them wisdom, 26, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he reproved them. And he placed before them commandments and judgments to do upon the earth. And he made peace amongst them, and taught them everlasting life. Look, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. Taught them everlasting life, taught them judgments, taught them the commandments, taught them how to judge upon the earth, made peace amongst them, how to keep peace amongst them, made peace amongst them, and taught them how to keep peace amongst themselves. That's a deep and hard thing to do already. He taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them, taught them about the afterlife and how to get there, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. 27, and at that time the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen, and Enoch said to them, on my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at that time, and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, where is the man who delights to know the ways of Yahuwah Eloheinu, the Lord our God? let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them serve Yahuwah and walk in his ways all the days of their life. And he continued to make peace amongst them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse. And he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men. And they went with him 1 day's journey. So this horse came down with the angel and said, all right, it's time to go. And his students, Enoch's students, saw it, and they were like, okay. And they came to let him know, yo, the horse is here. And he's like, yo, the horse is here for me. It's time for me to go. I got to leave you. You guys ain't going to see me no more. It's time for me to bounce. And they was just like, okay, wow, yeah. And he was like, I got to bounce. It's time for me to go. And 800,000 men said, all right, we going with you. And they went with him 1 day's journey. 33. And the second day he said to them, return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went with him. And those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. Now, the second day, so the first day they went, it was just like, okay, boom, they went with him a day's journey, 800,000, went with him a day's journey, said, we going with you, we coming with you, boom. After that day, Enoch was like, yo, they coming with me? Nah, man, look, you guys go back. Enoch tried to tell them to go back, go back. Why are you going to come with me? You guys can't necessarily come with me, man. Like, you might even die trying to come with me. The Lord might even kill you coming with me. It's like, hey, we coming, so be it. We coming with you. We coming with you. And then they went with him 6 days' journey. And he said, okay, look. And they said each day, in them 6 days' journey, each day he kept on saying, go back and return. Go back to your home. Go back to your tents. Go back, go back. And they kept on saying, no, we coming, we coming, we coming. Right? So it says, verse 34, and on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, we will go with you to the place where you go. They said, we're going with you where you're going. We're going. They clung. They said, there's no turning them back. They stand. As Yahuwah lives, death only shall separate us. Now, that's a deep line. They said, as the Lord lives, only death will separate us. So wherever you're going, we're going to, we can't go any further till the Lord separates us through death. They were committed. They wanted to go with Enoch. They wanted to go to see the Lord too. They wanted to go be with the Lord too. And man. And they seen all that already. I mean, what else would they be going back to? To the wild or see the future. You know what I mean? Like, man, imagine that. So he say, as Yahuwah lives, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them. He stopped talking. They just kept on going. They said, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. He just stopped talking to them. He said, man, I can't tell them nothing. So he said, they say that he ceased speaking to them. And they went after him and would not return. They still kept going. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into the heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. 37. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow. And upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, come, let us break through the snow and see, perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. Chapter 4, verse 1. And all the days that Enoch had lived upon earth were 365 years. And when Enoch had ascended into heaven, all the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah his son and anointed him, and they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of Elohim, as his father Enoch had taught him. And he likewise during the whole of his life taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of Elohim. And he did not turn from the good way either, to the right or to the left. Now, that's a lot right there that we just went into. But we see the dedication of his heart and the level of love that he had for the people. And he loved them so much, and they loved him so much that there was nothing that could separate them from the loving him and following him except death. And that death was going to have to come by the way of the Most High. And as we see that when he went up, that there was blocks of mountains of snow and ice, and they couldn't find him. So we don't know necessarily what happened with them. We do know Enoch ascended, but we don't know what happened with them. But there was that separation, and there was that level of bond, and that level of love, and that level of commitment, and that level of dedication, and that level of, faith. Their faith was greater than their fear. Only death could separate them from the seeking the Most High. Because they knew he was going to the Most High, and they were like, yo, we going with you. Only death will separate us from that. We'll follow you to the end. Like we've seen this, and we've heard you, and we heard you preach and speak on this, and what this is, and what this shall become, and what we need to do to maintain this. So we figure we're better off going with you. Because, hey, where you're going is far greater than where we're at. So we're coming. And he couldn't reason with them deep enough to get them to stay and go return. So he just stopped talking to them. He's like, there's no, man. And I don't want them to die. He didn't want them to die. And he tried to use that as a way of just turning them back. So so none of them would get hurt. Him or them. Love, compassion, mercy, commitment. His heart was enormous. His heart was enormous, Enoch. So what is it that we should do? What is it that we should do to magnify our own hearts, reach our fullest potential, expand our abilities? How do we give the most of ourselves and the best of ourselves? Well, let's take a look at this thing, because to really be able to take it to the levels and pushing in the direction of which Enoch took it. Because I don't know if we could take it to that level, and we may be able to, who knows, but pushing it in that direction with that idea in mind, with that example in mind, like pushing our hearts to that level of commitment, that level of expansion, and that much love for the people to be able to give and dedicate ourselves to the word, to be able to be the best of our ability, the best that we can be for not just our own selves, but for this world in general, in period, right? How can we do this? We got to make sure that our hearts are aligned. We got to make sure that our minds are in the right place. We got to make sure that our hearts are in the right place. But how do we know what the right place is? Let's take a look at this, man. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, starting at verse 12. And it reads, I'm talking to Solomon now. Yahuwah is talking to Solomon. Now, Yahuwah appeared to Solomon, 7 and 12. Yahuwah appeared to Solomon, El Shalamah, by night, and said unto him, I have heard your prayer, and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. 13. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sins, and will heal their land. Now, let's take a look at that. 7 and 14. 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, the first thing we must do is humble ourselves. Humble ourselves. We don't know it all. We can't do it all. Man, however, we can be blessed to be able to do it. That which we're striving for, to achieve that which we desire. As long as it is righteous desires, right? Good things. Things beneficial. Things in alignment with the word, but things that are in alignment with your life, the direction of your life, the abilities that you possess and behold. And you might not even be aware of these things just yet. Like it's so much of us that, of our own self, Like, we're always in states of becoming. We're always more than what we appear to be, even in the moment, even now. We're always more than we even think and imagine ourselves to be. We're far greater than we could even imagine ourselves to be, and we're far more than we can even imagine of ourselves. This is the part of the whole becoming. Like, we are in the process of becoming, and we don't know necessarily what's next, even though we may aspire. You know what I mean? You never really know where we'll end up, what will going to happen, what's going to happen, how it's going to transpire. Well, will be. But one thing that is true, one thing that remains true, is as long as we continue to strive for greatness, as long as we continue to strive in that positive direction, the right direction, with the right place and the right things in the heart and mind, it's going to be better. It's going to work out better. You'll be in a better position, you'll be in a better place, and you'll be in a better state. Whatever it is that you're going through, wherever it is that you're going to, you will be in a better place and in a better state as you get there, in your process, in your development, in your journey, in your travels. True indeed. So when we look at this thing, our first step, it says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, we must humble ourselves. And then it says, and pray. And pray from the heart to the spirit of the Most High YAH. We must communicate to the Lord and seek my face. Study the word. What is it that he embodies? What is the way of the Most High? What is the word saying? What is the truth of this life? What is the truth of the realities of what is? We're going to find that in here. What is like right from wrong? How do we know what right from wrong is? Like, right in our sight, the Lord said, man, my ways are much higher than your ways. My ways are not your ways. My way is higher than your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Like, can the bird, can the butterfly understand the bird? And can that bird understand the eagle? Man, it's like levels of dimension. Can the fly understand the eagle? Can the fly even understand the ant? Can the ant understand the fly's world? Like, these are different dimensions. Things operate. Can the ant understand our world? Different dimensions. So how much more higher is the Most High's ways in our understanding, and how can we understand that? We're not going to be able to understand it all. It's just beyond understanding. Like, this life in itself is beyond our understanding. Like we were talking about in the previous build, the weight. Can we even understand the weight of a fire, or the blast of the wind, the measure of the blast of the wind? The weight of fire? Can we even go through and recall back something that we've already been through before, something that we already had? Can we bring that back again, like what you ate yesterday? Or what you just ate 10 minutes ago that you digested? Or yesterday in itself, can you bring yesterday back today? What are these things? Can you bring tomorrow before it even is time? Can you resurrect a dead body? Can you determine where you're going to go once you leave here? I mean, living right way. But can you, on your own account, say, hey, this is what I'm going to do now, and after I leave here, I'm going to go there? Can you even determine the fact that you even came here? Do you even know where you even came from? We have our ideas, we have our beliefs, we have our thoughts, but do you know? And show and prove that. Can you show and prove when your death day is? Can you show and prove this? Can you show and prove that? Unless you commit it yourself, which would be treason to your own self, as well as to the Most High who created you. So we have a life that we have to live, and we have a duty to be the best we can, to magnify, like the tree outside, like the flowers in the grass, like every plant that's ever out there. Like, it has a duty to become what it is and produce its fruits. The tree produced that shade as well as the fruits. Cool out the environment at the same time, help to purge and cleanse some of the dust, with its leaves. It's like nature is its own. It's everything, man. It's a beautiful cycle, a cleansing cycle. I'm looking for that word, like that Brita, that water filtering. Nature is its own filter. Like, we have our own filters in our own mind. Like, okay, I shouldn't say that, or I shouldn't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Imagine the filter that Enoch had, which caused him to remove himself from the groups, from the society, from the people, to be able to come back to be able to administer levels of ministry and love with it, having compassion on the people, to understand their ways, because he had to come from amongst them and grow up amongst them and be open to them, to be able to have that love, to be able to teach them, to understand how to approach it. in each individual as well as collectively. So the level, man, was beautiful. But to humble ourselves, getting back to it, we humble ourselves and pray, communicate, and seek the face, understand, study the word, pray, and meditate as well. Prayer and meditation, like allow it to open up within you, you know what I'm saying? Take a psalm or take a proverb and meditate on that. Take a psalm and meditate on that. Take a proverb and meditate on that. Take a verse and meditate on it. Take a concept and meditate on it. Take a story and meditate, a prophet and meditate on it. Meditate on it. Wash it over in your mind. Wash it through your being. Allow it to just flow through you and just present what it presents. Have your own aha moments, right? So if my people, 7:14, 2 Chronicles, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, and turn from their wicked ways. And how do we know what is wicked? Through understanding the word, what it is. The word of the Most High. Going to take you into the book of Deuteronomy, going to take you into Leviticus, it's going to take you into Exodus, it's going to take you even into Genesis, it's going to bring you forward into the Gospels, into the Galatians, into Paul, into Jude, the Lord's brother, into James and Jacob. It's going to bring you into all. It's going to bring you into the whole word and putting it all together and taking our time and putting it together and going through it for your own self, reading through it your own self, because that's how the Spirit's going to open it up to you, by going through it your own self. These bills are to help, you know what I'm saying, facilitate the process and assist the process, you know what I mean? But the main duty and the main goal is like Enoch. He separated himself to study it for himself, to get his own understanding. So the Lord is going to open up the word differently to each individual, so then that each individual can bring its own light, shed its own light. So the whole thing is lit up. The whole page, the whole scene is lit up, hitting every angle, every crevice, because everybody, you know what I'm saying, needs the light and reflects the light differently. And receives it differently, receives love differently, needs love differently, needs to be loved differently, needs to be taught differently, needs to hear things differently, needs to hear it from a certain type of style to be able to understand and comprehend it, and sometimes need to hear it from a certain type of style to be even just be able to receive and respect it. So, and you gotta like taking the time to be able to understand people and the people that you're around. And that's going to be time with the people and time away from the people, to reflect on the people and reflect on your interactions and what your impact is around the folks, and the best of yourself around those, and what it is that, you know, because you'll hear things from people that tell you like, hey, you know what, I love it when you're like that. I love, you know, you're much better when you're much clearer when you're not in this type of atmosphere, or when you're not in this state of mind, or when you're not in this type of around this type of, like, you start to realize how people receive. You know what I mean? And your best way of giving. And then oftentimes once you get that understanding, the best way of delivering is, you see that one-on-one is often probably the best way, because everybody group, you're doing broad sweeping statements or broad sweeps, but individually you can go where it needs to go, right? So Enoch, man, humble ourselves. You know, those that are called by my name shall humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. So notice this. Seeking the face is instantly going to cause you to turn from your wicked ways, right? Seeking righteousness automatically causes a person to turn from wickedness, because a person can't be good and evil at the same time. You can't be conducting good and evil, because where's your motive at? Where's your heart at? What is your true motive and your true intent? Immediately turning your face to righteousness causes you to turn your face on wickedness. The moment we start trying to do right, we resist doing wrong. We're aware of the wrong that we've done, and we resist doing it. It's like, because now each time that we do that wrong, or we become aware of that wrong for the first time, even then it's like, okay, the next time I do that wrong, before I do, I know better, I shouldn't be doing it. And then if I do it, then I'm like, I start to feel the regret a little bit more now, not even, where I might not even felt no regret before, or need to repent before. I'll be like, man, I shouldn't have did that, man. And then it's like, and the more you do it, and the more you build up that resistance, that, man, I shouldn't do it. And the more you stick with it, like, just stick with it. Like, man, don't give up on yourself. Just keep trying to do right. Even in the process of you doing wrong, just keep striving to do right. Eventually you will, and we will get it right. Eventually we do get it right. And it becomes easier to get it right. We start to get little victories. You know what I mean? We start to replace those failures with little ways of success, little steps along the way. Well, okay, each time I think of that, I'm gonna just hit push-ups instead. Or each time I do that, I'm just gonna go for a walk. Or each time I do that, I'm just gonna open up the scripture and just go into a psalm or something like that. Or just change my frequency, change my vibration, change my focus, work on myself, right? So it's like we counter the negative with a positive, whichever it is that we place it with. Sometimes it might even just be praying at that moment, like, Lord, help me get through this thing. I don't want to do this. And like, you know what I mean? And even though you might even fail right after you pray, your heart is trying to still push in that opposite. And then immediately after you fail, you be like, man, you repent. And then eventually it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. The more you try and you push your efforts, and eventually you just be like, man, you overcome. It becomes less of a pull on you, less of a hold on you, less of a stronghold on you. If even a stronghold at all, if even a pull at all, if even in your life at all. It's where is your heart and what is the direction and what is the intent, you know? Because we are this flesh and we are mortal man. So we do perish, we will perish, as we read before, because of Adam, like the Adam, and thus we all shall. It's in us. But just like that is in us, something even greater is working in us and working through us, which allows us to become even rise above that. And in the end, live and be beyond it all. Live and be beyond all that. So we humble ourselves. We pray. We seek the face of the Lord. We seek understanding in the Word. We seek our peace in the Word. We seek our groundation and our foundation in the Word. And the more we read it, the more we understand it. You connect the Word with history. You put them two side by side. You connect it with life. You connect it in your reality. But you go and you study history. For myself, that's what I had to do to really put this thing in concrete real time. Like the more you get an understanding of history, real history, not just carbon copy taught and, you know, no, you're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to dig deep, because a lot of the real history, a lot of these real truths, man, which we're going to get into over some time too. Like some of these real truths is like hidden nations, hidden kingdoms even, man.
All this black history, they don't teach us in school, man. This whole book is full of black history. Dukes and earls, Scotland, British, English, Ireland, lords, bankmen, all these yellows, light skin, brown skin, middle skin, dark skin. There, man, you see it. Look, Moorish complexion, swarthy. Kings, archbishops. They don't teach this in school, man. Look. Black history, man. All history is black history, man. World history is black history. These are dukes. These are earls. These are kings. This is all in England, man. This is all through Europe, man. You gotta ask yourself, what timeline are you living on? Whose reality are you living in? What really is the truth? All this buried history, man. Why is this buried? Some shocking information and all this. Look, all these books full of your history, full of our history, man, full of who we are, man. Buried, man. These are library books from universities, all with our history, man. All with our history, man. All with our history, man. This is just pieces. Look at this. America, first settled by the Israelites, Indians who came up out of Egypt. Egyptians were Ethiopian people, Herodotus, man. So-called father of so-called history, man. Look at this. You want to see the kicker, though? Check this kicker out. You're gonna like this. It's worth it. In his habited manners, very formal, a tall, thin, very black man, like a Spaniard or a Jew.
Whole nations of people, man. Hidden history that we never were taught in our school. Look just like us, man. Never taught. British, Scotland, Ireland, all this. Never taught. Dukes, all type of royals, military, merchant, all type. Never taught. Never taught. Never taught. Imagine what it does to the mind, a young mind that's taught these things growing up, but when you're not taught these things, imagine what it does to the mind. How it limits, and then when you start to hear other things, it just becomes unbelievable, a lot of these things. So the more you unpack history, real history, you're gonna have to go into them libraries. You're gonna have to, one of the best investments a person could ever get is a library card. You get you that library card, you go on in there and you pick out these books, you study those books, you Google search what books you need to get, and you go and you get those books. You go on into those, because you're gonna have to, some of these books you're not gonna be able to order, you're not gonna be able to even buy. Some of them you do try to buy, they might be a couple $100 or even $1,000, but then some of them you just can't buy anymore because they're out of print. And the only place you can get some of these books are in some of these universities. In those college stacks, those memorial stacks, and all those, you know what I'm saying? Those stacks. You're gonna have to go through them and dig through them, collecting dust up there. Some of them they're even getting rid of because nobody even checking them out. And some of them they're just getting rid of just to get rid of that aspect of history. These books are hundreds of years old, man. Literally. So it's real, man. To really understand this, you're gonna have to dig into history to really understand it at a real level. Otherwise, because this is not no belief system, and it sure as heck ain't no religion. This is a reality. This is truth. This is truth. If anything is truth, this is truth. And you'll understand that as you unfold it. Those who already know. Those you already know. But those that don't know, you know what I mean? You just got to go through it. You got to go through it to give it your time. Don't go through it to get it from a church. Don't get it through any of these synagogue structures. You're going to have to get it for yourself, man. Like the Lord tells us. You're going to have to go to the Word, man. So humble yourself. Pray on it. Seek the face, like seek the truth of God. Seek the face of the Lord. Seek the truth of the Lord. Seek the truth of the Lord. It's got to be true to your heart. And then more and more is going to unfold. More and more is going to unpeel. Like, you're gonna, man, so many things we're going to end up hopefully getting through. But where we're at now, we're just looking at the dedication that it takes to really get an understanding of what's really going on, the true word of the Lord. Enoch had an understanding and the level of dedication that it took. And you take like whatever it is, like you want to be great out there, you know, people that wanted to be great in basketball in my era, we tried to be like Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson type of stuff. You know what I mean? And so whatever it is you're trying to be great at, you study the great and you try to be great in that. You want to be great and you want to be like the Lord, you study the Lord. And who knew the understanding of the Lord and who had that level of understanding? Enoch. You know, after that, you know, of course, Christ. But the prophets, you know what I mean? And what did they do to get that? You will see that they were human beings too. They did some righteous, they did some unrighteous. They had their successes, they had their failures. You know what I'm saying? Some were born in it, some came to it later. Some had darker histories before they got there. Some came in born into it and just fell off and got on again. Like, you got so many different examples of so many different ways and lifestyles, so many different styles and fingerprints, man, that you'll see your own journey in this. You'll see not only your own journey, but several other people's that you may know or had experienced in life. So it's the truth, man. It's a beautiful thing, and it moves you from the inside all around you, man. Like, it moves you from the inside. So we humble ourselves, we pray, we seek the face of the Most High, and we turn from our wicked ways. We turn from our ways, man. First, we got to acknowledge that we don't know it all. We got to acknowledge when we are wrong. We got to acknowledge that we are wrong. We got to acknowledge that we don't know. We got to acknowledge that we do have ways that need to improve, that need to be better, that aren't even good for our own selves, let alone other people. Be it thought, be it action, be it deed, be it speech, whatever it may be, at every level we got to examine ourselves. Thus the word tells us to examine yourself. We must examine ourselves. Another thing, another aspect to consider when we're looking at Solomon in the heart is we're gonna find in the second Chronicles chapter 1, and starting at verse 7, it says, "In the night did Elohim appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give you." He said, "Ask what I shall give you." Just ask me what you want. Tell me what you want. And Solomon said unto Elohim. So out of everything Solomon could have asked for, the Lord came to him and said, "Hey, Solomon, tell me what it is that you want." And out of all the things Solomon could have asked for, out of anything, this is what Solomon said. And Solomon said unto Elohim, "You have showed great mercy unto David my father, and have made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Yahuwah Elohim, let your Now, O Yahuwah Elohim, let your promise unto David my father be established. For you have made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this people that is so great?" And Elohim said to Solomon, "Because this was in your heart, and you have not asked riches, wealth, or honor, nor the life of your enemies, neither yet have you asked for long life, but have asked for wisdom and knowledge for yourself, that you may judge my people over whom I have made you king. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto you, and I will give you riches and wealth and honor, such as none of the kings have had that have been before you, neither shall there any after you have the like." So the Lord came to Solomon and asked Solomon, "Tell me what it is you want." And of all things that Solomon could ask for, he asked the Lord for wisdom and knowledge so he can teach his people and bless the Lord's people, man. He said, "I just want to serve you. Bless me with knowledge and wisdom so I can serve your people and serve you the best way I can. Because they're great people already, and who else can teach them, you know what I'm saying, any type of greatness, and I can't teach them anything unless you bless me. So can you bless me and let the promise of David be fulfilled in me? And bless me that I can bless them." And the Lord said, "Because this was in your heart, and you didn't ask me for riches, you didn't ask me for all these things, you didn't ask me for long life, you didn't ask me for the life of your enemies, you didn't ask me for anything except for knowledge and wisdom to rule over my people that I love so much. Shows me the love that you have for my folks. Oh man, you gotta love God's people, man. You have to love God's people, man. Oh man. And it's gotta be real, man. It's gotta be real. It's a lot of fake love out there, man. A lot of false love, a lot of things that are called love, but it's not. And as we see here in that 1:7, and Elohim said unto Solomon, "Because this was in your heart," in verse 11, "and you have not asked for riches, wealth, or honor, or the life of your enemies, yet have asked long life, neither have you yet even asked for long life." You didn't ask me to stretch out your life. You didn't ask me to stretch out your enemies. You didn't ask me to stretch out your riches. You didn't ask me to bless you with any of that. You asked for wisdom and knowledge to look over my people. And he said, "Because you have asked for this wisdom and knowledge, it's going to be granted to you, and I will give you riches and wealth and honor, such as none of the kings had before you or after you." because you asked, because your heart was right. And because of what your heart is, and because of where your heart was right at, and it was true, and it was real, and it was authentic, now I can know I can trust you. Now I know I can trust you, and I can bless you. I can bless you greatly and trust you with that. Man, how beautiful. How beautiful. And knowing you're a man, I know where you're going to go, how far you're going to go. So I know what I can bless you with. And when you're going to go there and what's going to be around. So the hedge is already there. The hedge is already set. Like, man, he's only going to let you go so far. Let you only do so much. He ain't going to give you more than you can handle. Ain't going to put on you more than you can take. Get you just right, just enough. Every time. You might not think and believe in yourself, but when you start to do it and handling, you start to believe in yourself, you start to realize who you are, then you realize, man, oh man, the Lord did it, man. And with the Lord, you can do it all, man. You can do anything. With the Lord, man. With the Lord. So I say that, man, to say this, man. Strive to be great, man. Strive to be your greatest self. Strive to be your most loving self. Strive to be your most righteous self, your most perfect self, your most best self. We strive for this daily. And the only way we can reach that, the only way we can achieve, the only way we can even recognize that, is we have to examine ourselves. The Lord said, man, examine yourselves. Man, examine yourselves. And we must see if we are worthy. We must see if we are worthy, man. Worthy for what? Man, worthy of life, man. Worthy of love. All the things that beautiful life brings, man. Only when we can do good, and when we can, man, like, being love, man, you're worthy of love. Giving love is worthy of love. It's worthy of receiving love. Giving of yourself, you're worthy of receiving of others. Being your best self, you're worthy of receiving the best in life, man. Your best experience, your best state, your most upbeat feeling, your best state of health. That is possible. And though these things may not always be, and though these things may not even be, you put your heart and your mind in the right place, in the right space, you create these realities, man. What do I mean by create these realities? You know, you strive at it long enough, you keep at it long enough, these things end up opening up to us. We end up opening up to us. And like Enoch, man, you strive it until you get transcended, man. Like, you may not see it all in your lifetime, but where you're going with that as your ambition is far greater than anything you could touch and clutch in this world. So you just keep on pushing forward with that in your state, in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit, man. Righteousness in the heart after the Most High YAH. And with that being said, I wish you nothing but love. I wish you nothing but light. I wish you nothing but bountiful blessings in your life, positivities in your journey, nothing but successes along your way. Many victories till we get to the great victory. Till we get to the great victory. You know, fight the good fight. You know, resist the temptation. You know, act not from anger. Act not from anger. A wise man once said nothing. Sometimes it's better not to say anything, man. Sometimes it's better not to say or do anything. Just remain. Just remain. And all things shall pass, and this too shall pass, and you'll get back into that sun and that shining and that peaceful place in space within yourself again and around yourself again, and all that storm that was there before, it becomes that memory. It's something of the past. And then when you look back on what you may have and would have or could have said and done, you to say, hey, it would have been futile. And it's all futile now because we're on to the next. Sometimes it's better off just saying nothing and doing nothing, man. And allowing the Most High to work. Like the Lord said, vengeance is mine. I will repay. Leave space for the Lord's grace, man. Leave space for the Most High's grace to work in your life. Be peace, be love, be forgiving, be merciful, be compassionate. And live a life of love, man. Live a life of love, man, and in truth. And let that be your light and your guiding light. Let the word of the Most High, let the word of the Most High take you every step of the way. That being said, thank you again for tuning in. I wish you nothing but love, light, bountiful blessings, and peace and abundance. Thank you again for tuning in. All praises to the Most High YAH. Glory to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Yahushua HaMashiach. Thank you again. Peace and love and blessings. Peace.